everybody who's tuning in. I do appreciate you for tuning in. Long Island Gaming League, we're based out here on Long Island. We focus on esports and education. We've been doing so since 2019. A little bit about myself. I am not the best gamer in the world, so I probably won't win any tournaments, and I don't stream. So that's definitely not how I would be making money in terms of the gaming industry or investing. But that's also why this video and this webinar and this course has all been created, because we want to share some of the other ways in terms of, if you're a gamer or a parent of a gamer, how you could actually earn money outside of winning them in tournaments or spending hours via stream. The industry itself, if many of you may or may not know, it's a $1 billion industry, which is crazy, and it's just now started out. So when you think about the scale of an industry that's just at $1 billion and it's global, which means it's not just focused on here, there's a lot of opportunity. So you may have different companies, you know, from a stock market perspective, to where it's a local company, you know, and it's not really sold in other markets. But when you think of gaming, because of its global aspects, there's a lot of opportunity that is there for yourself or for those who might be parents of young gamers. The one thing that I would say is that if you're familiar with a particular game you used to play as a child, I'm sure that game still exists today. And if you had the opportunity to actually invest in that, you'd be surprised where that money would end up. So since the industry is only getting bigger, as an older gamer, you can invest if you're familiar with any type of investing. But the more important thing is that if you're a parent of a gamer, now is even more important for them to invest in this opportunity, because it's not like you're going to stop them from playing video games. And you're probably going to spend your money on getting them video games. And then when they have enough money, they're going to buy those same video games. And you know who's making all that money? The companies that produce those games. So what I wanted to say and bring this to a hold or to the forefront is to kind of shine some light on the things that are not often shined when it comes to esports. A lot of parents are trying to take their kids off of the video games. They're trying to pull them away from the video games because they think there's no real opportunity. And honestly, that's not the parents' fault, because what is being put out there is that, oh, you know, these kids are just addicted to these video games, or they're isolated, or they're this, they're that. But nobody's talking about the real opportunities. So stock market investing for young gamers is a real opportunity, and it isn't going to take away their time. It's not going to hurt their education. It's not going to do any of that, because investing, like anything else, you invest and then it does the work for you. And clearly, I'm not the stock market investing expert, and I'm sure Mr. X is going to be able to speak a little bit more highly on that. But when it comes to video games, I can tell you that it's not going anywhere. The Long Island Gaming League business itself was built upon an industry that didn't exist a couple of years ago. And here we are, thriving in this industry. And we did it from a perspective of educating ourselves on the industry, educating ourselves on the growth. And what we want you to do, and what we hope that you take away from this webinar that we're doing live, is that you yourself will not only fully understand the esports market, the growing, and how it's growing as an industry, whether you can relate to it in terms of playing, or whether you're hearing about it from your colleagues, your coworkers, or your kids are playing, know that it's not going anywhere. So I want to kind of pass the mic, so to speak, to Professor X so he can speak about some of the things he has, and then we're going to collab and kind of bounce back and forth off each other.
This is really, really important. Why do I say that? Well, one reason, if you're aware, you know, student debt in America is at an all-time high. Hundreds, thousands of people are in because of college. But as a parent, if you could provide and accumulate capital, money, to assist your child with going to college or going to a trade school, that could make their life tremendously easier. Stock market investing is one of the few investments that is out here where that you could start to invest tomorrow, whereas other investments you may need hundreds and thousands of dollars to invest in.
Just think about all that time that is being spent, right, while you're engaging in those games. But as Mr. X was saying before, if you were just to take one day and say, hey, I'll put $5 here on this stock, or $100, whatever may fit your budget, and you go back to gaming, and the next time you check it out and you're like, wow, I actually made some money on that, and then you can stop gaming but still be making money on that stock because you have people like me who are still going to be playing those games. And you got millions of people who are going to be playing those games. And not only, like I said, people like me, you got the generations under us that are going to be playing those games. And all you did was have to make that investment one time. And everybody always talks about the Nike story, right? Everybody's like, hey, you know, if I would have known about Nike and I'd have, you know, invested in Nike back then, I'd be a millionaire now, right? That same amount of money you would have spent on your first pair of Nikes or first pair of Jordans back then, that stock would have quadrupled right now. Think about Amazon, another stock that if you'd have only invested way back when, what it would have done. And we may have thought, you know, 10 years, 20 years from, it wouldn't have made a difference, right? Because it's like so far gone, but that compounding effect of 10 to 20 years from now, depending on what your investment was, could be 10 to 20s of thousands of dollars. And esports right now has that exact same opportunity. And we're telling it because, and I'm telling you this, just like I said, to make sure it hits home in the relativity of, you may not know the gaming stocks exist, but if you can relate to a Nike or Amazon and see where they were at its inception and how big they were and how much we utilize those things. I mean, we all need sneakers, right? We don't need Nike, but we need sneakers because why? It's popular, right? And we didn't necessarily knew we needed Amazon until they hit us with next day delivery. So in that regard, if you think about gaming, we may just be playing gaming because it's leisure. It kills time. I had a long day. I want to play some video games, right? A kid might want to play it just because all his friends are on there and he wants to connect with his friends. But at the end of the day, it's being utilized. It is something that is very much active in our lives, but we're just not paying attention to it. And we're hoping that with this course, we get you to start to pay attention to it, and not only pay attention to it, but know which stocks are the ones that are leading the industry. And you'll be surprised that those stocks are just blowing up right before our eyes. But unless you're looking for them and unless you're aware of them or even know which one of your favorite games has a stock, you're missing out on the opportunity because at that point, all you're doing is consuming. You're consuming the entertainment, but you're not getting anything back from that entertainment. So why not, if you get paid to game, why not use that money to invest in that game? So if you buy a new one or you buy a new skin for your child or you buy some type of update now, because back in the day, gaming, you didn't have to pay to win. Nowadays, you literally got to pay to win. So if you want to get a new skin or get to the next level or get better, you actually got to pay for that. So just think of how many people are paying for these skins, paying for these games, and they're not going anywhere. And also with esports, a lot of you may not be familiar that colleges have introduced scholarships for esports. So the same way they give scholarships for your traditional sports like football and basketball, colleges are investing in this, which means if they have a team, that college is not going to get rid of their team the same way they haven't gotten rid of their football team nor their basketball team. And in order to supply that, they have to purchase or utilize these games within their ecosystem. So, and I'm giving all this information to kind of show you how depth and how much opportunity is really there for investing in the gaming industry, whether you love the game or you hate the game, but investment is definitely a way to go.
Yes, definitely, Dennis. You know what's so ironic what you just said to me? What you just said about not knowing about Nike and Amazon. I just saw a video this week where Magic Johnson, okay, one of the greatest players to ever play the game, said that he was offered an opportunity to sign up with Nike because Converse was just giving him the money up front, the big check front. He said, I didn't grow up knowing anything about the stock market. I just passed on it and look at Nike now. And he regrets it. Obviously he doesn't need the money, but he's admitting that even now in his 60s that he didn't know anything about the stock market, and had he invested into it, had he signed up with the deal with Nike, which would have included stock options, how much money he could have made. Even Shaquille O'Neal, he was an early investor in Google, but he even said recently that he wished that he would have invested more money when the opportunity, was presented to him. So stock market investing could change your life. This year, 2023 is the 23rd anniversary of Amazon. 25th anniversary of Amazon. And they've already reported that if you would have invested $1,000 25 years ago, that in 2023 it would be worth $1 million. Could you imagine?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Imagine if somebody in your family just did that, you didn't know about it, it was for you, put it away, walked away from it, and now 25 years later, they're saying to you, this is for you. I want you to continue to expand and grow your life. So this is the power of stock market investing. In the course that we put together, we can show you how you can make money almost immediately, okay? Or we can show you how you can build money over time. It all depends. How much capital do you have? And how much dedication you're actually gonna put to understanding the stock market, right? So a brief high-level overview of what I utilize and what's being taught in the course that we put together, Stock Market Investing Strategies for Young Gamers. So we teach, don't invest your money in companies that you don't understand, right? Mm-hmm. Makes sense, right? Okay. So if you utilize a particular game or games on a multiple basis, you probably have more knowledge about those games than maybe someone else who doesn't even play video games, right? Mm-hmm. So that's really good, right? But you got to do the research, right? You got to go to the company's website, learn about the company, learn about the competitors, learn about what makes that particular gaming company unique or different or better than its competitors, right? But at the same time, you want to know, is that company that you're investigating, right? Are they making money? Are they making money right now with the games that they sell or other services that they sell within their company? Are their sales increasing, from one year to the next? Are their sales higher, let's say in 2023 than it was in 2022? Are their sales higher in 2022 than it was in 2021? Are they generating a profit when you subtract out all of their expenses from their sales or their revenue? Is the company's net worth increasing? Which basically means that if you add up everything that the company owns, which is its assets, like the building where all the employees of that gaming company works out of, they probably own that building, right? They may have a patent, as an example, on a particular game that they put out. Those things have a dollar value. Those are assets. But then the company has expenses, right? What they spend to run the business. So quite simply, if you add up a company's total liabilities, which is its expenses, and subtract it from its total assets, right? Things that they own of value, that will let you know whether or not the company has a positive or negative net worth, right? So these are just a couple different things to help you to evaluate a company, but at the same time, you got to know what's the best price to buy, let's say, that individual company. So we teach that in the Stock Market Investing Strategies for Young Gamers course. And as I mentioned before, not only are you learning how to pick individual stocks within the gaming industry in the stock market, or an exchange traded fund that holds a whole bunch of different gaming stocks, but also you're learning how to invest in the stock market in general as a young gamer, and also as a young gamer's parent, guardian, or mentor. You're going to learn about your stock market investing identity. You may prefer to invest in individual gaming stocks in the stock market, or individual stocks in the stock market. Or maybe you prefer to invest in ETFs, right? Exchange traded funds. Let me give you an example. Let's say you go to the supermarket right now, right? And you like snacks, potato chips, right? But you don't know which one you want to buy. So maybe you just go buy 5 different bags, right, of different potato chips. Well, that's like an ETF, right? You don't know which gaming stock you want to invest in. So instead of putting your money into one, maybe you put your money in an ETF that has 5 different gaming stocks in there.
I mean, that's all great stuff, and just to somewhat piggyback off of kind of what you were mentioning, just really take some time as you're watching this video over and over, or even in the course, to think about how you're surrounded by gaming and you don't even know it. Again, if you don't wear Nikes, you're not aware of Nikes. Granted, you didn't invest in Nike, but you are aware, very much aware of the gaming industry and how it's growing up with you, growing up around you. Somebody yourself personally, or your friends' kids or your kids, they game. And that alone should kind of show you how big this industry is. And there's probably a reason why they're not talking about it, because too often do we find out behind everybody getting filthy rich off of an industry